Can Zendaya drive?
Yes, I can.
Hell yeah.
No. Didn't you crash your car the other day?
There's a difference between celebrity couples who perform chemistry for cameras and couples who simply can't help being themselves in front of them. Tom Holland and Zendaya belong firmly in the second category. Across years of press tours, talk show appearances, and behind-the-scenes clips, the two have built up one of the most oddly specific reputations in Hollywood. They are, by all appearances, incapable of behaving around each other, not in a scandalous way. In the way where one of them says something slightly unhinged, the other one loses it laughing, and neither of them seems to notice or care that a camera is running. This is a rundown of exactly why their dynamic has become must-watch material, whether they intend it to be or not. It starts, fittingly, with a lie getting caught almost instantly. In one interview, Zendaya was asked a simple yes or no question about whether she can drive. She answered confidently. Tom, sitting right next to her, did not let it stand for more than a second, cutting in with a flat denial and immediately bringing up an incident involving her car that she clearly would have preferred stayed unmentioned. The back and forth that followed had the rhythm of two people who have had this exact argument before, off camera, more than once, the kind of bickering that only happens between people who are completely comfortable contradicting each other in public. Every couple has an in-joke that only one of them finds funny at first. For Tom and Zendaya, it's his impression of her laugh. In one clip, he attempts it directly to her face, and the result is almost scientific. Her laugh completely breaks down into something unrecognizable. She can't finish a sentence, and the interviewer is left watching two people dissolve into a private joke that the audience is only half in on. It's the kind of moment that can't be scripted, because the entire bit only works if the imitation is accurate enough to be genuinely funny to the person being imitated. If there's one recurring theme in their joint interviews, it's Tom's unshakable confidence in his own cooking, a confidence that is not, according to every available witness, backed up by results. He's described attempting a nut roast and lamb shanks with the kind of pride usually reserved for someone who has actually succeeded at the thing they're describing. Zendaya, for her part, plays along just long enough before revealing, with visible amusement, that reports from his own family suggest the lamb shanks came out overcooked and stained dark from too much red wine. He counters that at least he was brave enough to attempt the sauce. Neither of them backs down. It's a small culinary standoff that says more about their relationship than 100 red carpet photos could. Every celebrity has old audition footage they'd rather forget, and Tom Holland's happens to be an early clip of him as a kid announcing his role in a Billy Elliot production. When it's played for Zendaya, she is delighted in the way only someone who has just found new blackmail material can be. Tom, on the other hand, visibly winces, calling the tape something that haunts him. The gap between her genuine "I love that" and his genuine discomfort is the entire joke. Every couple has a soft spot the other one knows how to exploit, and for Tom it's apparently tickling. The moment it comes up in conversation, his composure disappears almost instantly, and Zendaya seems fully aware of exactly how disarming that vulnerability is. What's notable is that she shares the same aversion, so instead of a prank setup, it turns into a strange kind of solidarity. Two people agreeing to just hold hands instead and move on. Ask Tom Holland to describe something sincerely, and there's a real chance it turns into a joke halfway through. When asked to name the best qualities of his character, he stumbles, laughs at himself, and eventually lands on handsome, as though he surprised even himself with the answer. It's a small thing, but it's part of a pattern. Zendaya laughing at nearly everything he says, not because the material is always objectively hilarious, but because she finds him funny as a baseline setting. Action sequences require choreography, and choreography doesn't care about height differences, except when it does. Tom has explained, more than once, the mechanics of a particular stunt where his character is supposed to gently set her character down and walk away looking composed. Because of their height gap, the reality on set apparently involved him landing awkwardly and having to be caught by her, turning a moment that was supposed to look heroic into something closer to slapstick. The story is funny specifically because he tells it against himself. If you want to understand how comfortable two people are with each other, listen to how they correct each other's word choices. Tom and Zendaya have turned mispronunciation into an ongoing bit, from a mixed-up phrase about a plot reveal to an extended debate over how to say croissant, with Tom leaning into an exaggerated pronunciation just to needle the interviewer's very reasonable point that it's closer to how it's actually said in French. There's also a memorable moment where he mixes up orthopedist and orthodontist mid-interview, catching himself instantly and laughing before anyone else can. None of these moments are dramatic. That's exactly why they work. They're the kind of small, repeated teasing that only happens between people who spend a lot of time correcting each other in private first. There's a particular kind of long-married couple energy that shows up when two people finish each other's thoughts without meaning to. In one interview, Zendaya starts describing a moment involving cooking and controlling kitchen habits, and Tom picks up the thread. So naturally, it's clear this isn't the first time they've had this exact conversation. It's less power couple doing press and more two people who live together explaining an inside joke to a stranger. Franchise actors get grilled about plot details constantly, and Tom has a well-earned reputation for being one of the worst secret keepers in the business, something Zendaya has teased him about publicly more than once. So it's notable that in more recent joint interviews, he's visibly gotten better at deflecting. When asked a pointed question designed to trick him into confirming which villain might show up next, he catches the trap immediately, compliments the interviewer on the attempt, and shuts it down anyway. Zendaya's reaction, equal parts pride and amusement, suggests this is new behavior for him, and she's enjoying watching him actually hold the line for once. Put them through a rapid-fire trivia round about the character they've both spent years living with, and the dynamic shifts again, this time into something closer to teammates. Zendaya answers most of the character trivia with the speed of someone who's absorbed it by osmosis, occasionally correcting small details as they go. It's less a quiz and more a demonstration of how much overlapping knowledge two people accumulate after years of working and living in the same fictional universe. Spend enough time with someone from another country, and their speech patterns start to rub off, whether you want them to or not. Zendaya has admitted somewhat sheepishly to picking up British sentence inflections from Tom. Not a full accent, just the rhythm of certain phrases, including a specific sign-off word he uses constantly that she started repeating without meaning to. Watching him try to demonstrate it while she cringes and confirms he's got it right is one of those small, specific bits that could only exist between two people who've spent enough time around each other's families to start absorbing their verbal habits. Not every disagreement between them gets resolved, and the pineapple on pizza debate is a good example. Zendaya is unashamedly pro-pineapple, arguing there's no real reason to be scared of it. Tom pushes back, insisting he'd only eat it under very specific circumstances, mainly if it showed up on set and he happened to be hungry enough not to argue. Neither side wins. It's a low-stakes disagreement, but the fact that they're willing to bicker about pizza toppings on camera, instead of giving a diplomatic non-answer, says something about how unfiltered they are willing to be in interviews. Sometimes the funniest moments come from a question that was clearly meant to get a heartfelt answer. Asked what keeps him grounded, Tom pauses just long enough that it's obvious he's about to say something Zendaya did not expect, and her reaction, somewhere between shock and delighted disbelief, becomes the actual highlight of the clip rather than whatever answer he eventually gives. For all the teasing, there's a real tenderness underneath it, and it tends to show up in small, almost accidental ways. Hearing Tom refer to her by her middle name in casual conversation was enough to send fans into a frenzy, precisely because it wasn't a planned romantic gesture. It was just how he talks to her when he's not thinking about being on camera. Similarly, a brief moment where she checks in on him because he mentions feeling unwell mid-interview shows the same instinct. The teasing pauses immediately the second something genuine needs attention. When Zendaya was recognized with a major fashion honor, Tom's reaction wasn't a rehearsed compliment. It was him trying to answer the question about her win before the interviewer even finished asking it, clearly proud and a little too eager to get the details out, right down to bringing up her Emmy recognition for Euphoria unprompted. It's a small tell. He wants to be the one bragging about her, not just agreeing when someone else does. Asked whether they can tell when the other is annoyed, the conversation turns into an accidental demonstration rather than an answer. There's a look exchange between them mid-question that says more than either of their verbal responses do. The kind of silent read that develops only after a long time of actually paying attention to someone. Even when they're not physically together for an interview, they find ways to mention each other. Asked who her last phone call was with, Zendaya doesn't hesitate before naming Tom, immediately explaining his travel plans and when he'll next be around. The kind of detail you only know offhand if you're actually paying attention to someone's schedule, not just performing familiarity for an interviewer. When directly asked to describe each other's best qualities, the tone shifts from bit to something closer to sincere, even if the sincerity is delivered with a bit of a smirk. Tom lands on her kindness and selflessness. She, notably, opens with something about his looks before either of them can stop laughing about it, and the whole exchange ends up somewhere between genuine and self-aware, which might be the most accurate description of their dynamic overall. Their earliest chemistry actually predates the relationship headlines. It goes back to their Spider-Man Homecoming audition process, revisited years later alongside co-star Jacob Batalon. Watching old audition tapes together, the trio ends up laughing at how green they all were, with Tom in particular cringing at his own early delivery. It's a reminder that their comfort with each other didn't appear out of nowhere. It was built over years of auditions, reshoots, and press tours long before anyone was asking about their relationship status. None of these moments are dramatic. Nobody's fighting, nobody's hiding anything scandalous, and there's no manufactured tension for the cameras. What makes Tom Holland and Zendaya's interviews consistently entertaining is the opposite of drama. It's the complete absence of a filter. They interrupt each other, correct each other, expose each other's most embarrassing stories without hesitation, and then, without any visible effort, pivot into genuine tenderness the second it's called for. That combination, total comfort teasing each other,